All right, today we're going to dive into something that's, well, fundamental to how our digital lives even work: network ports. You can think of them as these invisible traffic cops of the internet. And trust me, understanding them is the key, not just to how everything works online, but more importantly, how you can stay secure. I mean, have you ever really thought about that? You've got a dozen tabs open, you're on a video call, maybe a game is updating in the background. So how does your computer not get completely confused? How does the data for your Zoom call not accidentally end up in your email? Well, the answer is this really elegant system called network ports. So first off, a network port isn't something you can physically touch or point to on your laptop. It's a virtual endpoint. To really get it, let's use an analogy. Picture your computer's IP address, that string of numbers, as the street address for a massive office building. Well, the ports are all the numbered doors on that building, and each door leads to a totally different service inside. Okay, so if we've got all these doors, there must be some rules, right? Let's get into the mechanics of how they all work together to manage that constant flood of information coming and going. Yeah, that is a lot of doors. Believe it or not, every single computer has a total of 65,536 ports, and they're numbered from 0 all the way up to 65,535. Now, the first chunk, the first 1,024, are called well-known ports. They're reserved for the big stuff, like web browsing and email. All the rest are up for grabs, used by all sorts of other applications, often just for temporary connections. Now, data gets delivered to these doors in two main ways. Think of TCP, that's Transmission Control Protocol, as sending a certified package that you have to sign for. It's a bit slower, sure, but that's because it confirms every single piece of data arrives safe and sound. Then you've got UDP, the User Datagram Protocol. That's more like sending a postcard. It's way faster, but there's no guarantee it'll get there. So you're always making a choice. Do you need reliability or do you need speed? All right, you ready? Let's take a little walk through our digital office building and meet some of the most important tenants living and working behind these numbered doors. First stop, port 22. This is the secure entrance for something called SSH, or Secure Shell. Now, this door isn't for the general public. Think of it as the high-security, encrypted entrance that only system administrators can use to manage the computer from far away. And its importance is just crucial, because it replaced the old, incredibly insecure port 23, which was used for Telnet. Telnet sent everything, and I mean everything, including your username and password in plain text for anyone to see. Yikes. Next up, we're at door number 25. Welcome to the mailroom. This place is run by SMTP, or Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and its one and only job is to send email out. Every time you hit send on an email, it goes shooting out through port 25. It's basically the building's main outgoing mail slot. Now, it works as a team with other protocols like POP3 and IMAP, which handle receiving all your mail at their own special doors. Okay, moving on. We're now at port 53. And this might be the most important service in the entire building: DNS. DNS, the domain name system, is like that friendly directory in the lobby of our building. See, we humans are good at remembering names, like Google.com. But computers, they only understand numbers, those IP addresses. DNS does that translation for us in a split second. Without it, we'd have to memorize long strings of numbers just to visit a single website. It literally makes the internet usable. All right, here's one you've definitely used, probably without even realizing it: port 80. This is the original, wide-open main entrance to the building. It's used for all standard web traffic through HTTP, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. But right next to it, we've got port 443, and this is the modern, secured main entrance. You see that little S in HTTPS? It stands for secure, and believe me, it makes all the difference in the world. This comparison really shows you how the web has grown up. Port 80 sends all your data in plain text, totally visible to anyone who might be snooping on the network. But port 443, it encrypts everything. When you see that little padlock icon in your browser's address bar, you've just walked through port 443, and your connection is safe and secure. And that brings us to a really critical point. Knowing the layout of the building is one thing, but knowing how to secure it, well, that's everything. This is where our fun little analogy gets pretty serious. Because just like in a real building, every single unlocked or unguarded door is a potential way in for an attacker. So attackers use this technique called port scanning, and it's disturbingly simple. They basically use a program to digitally knock on all 65,000 doors of your computer. When a door answers, they know a service is running there. Then they just check their list of known weaknesses for that specific service and try to break in. So, how in the world do we protect ourselves? Simple. We hire a security guard. In the network world, that security guard is called a firewall. A firewall basically stands at the property line and inspects all the traffic coming and going. It has a list of who's allowed in, and it'll block anything or anyone suspicious from ever getting close to the doors. Okay, for any of you out there studying for certifications, I'm talking Network Plus, Security Plus, things like that, listen up. This next part is pure gold for your exam. Let's boil this all down to what you absolutely have to know. Here they are, the essentials. You are going to see these ports again and again out in the real world. SSH on 22, SMTP on 25, DNS on 53, HTTP and HTTPS on 80 and 443, and of course, RDP for remote desktop on 3389. Seriously, memorizing these isn't just about passing a test, it's a foundational skill for any career in IT. And that really just sums it all up, doesn't it? Network security isn't always about buying the most expensive, complex tools. It's about mastering the fundamentals. It's about knowing exactly which doors need to be open for business and then making absolutely sure that every other one is locked, barred, and bolted shut. So we'll end with this thought. You now have the blueprint to this digital building that we all live and work in every single day. The only real question left is, have you checked the locks on your own doors? Thanks for joining this explainer.